Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today's video I'm going to take you on a little bit of an edit in Aperty, which is a portrait retouching program by the same people who brought us the wonderful Luminar Neo. Now Aperty is fabulous for just retouching and a few little sort of tweaks on your portraits. It's quick, it's easy, you can batch process, you can do it from Lightroom or Photoshop, or you can use it as a standalone, which is what I'm going to do today. So let's jump in and I'm going to show you around and then show you how I'm going to edit my portraits quickly but beautifully using Aperty. So this is what Aperty looks like. As you can see, I've got quite a few folders loaded in here. I'm just going to jump into this Christmas shoot. So I'm just going to double click. So you can bring in folders or projects or add images. There is also a dodge and burn and an erase and clone here. You've got all your EXIF data here, so your ISO, focal length, aperture, shutter speed, and the image size there. So let's jump in. If you have used Luminar or anything like that, you'll see that you've got your film strip along the bottom here. You can go through, you can rate your images, you can make them bigger, your image bigger or smaller, or fit to screen. You've got your before and after, your preview. You can do a show gallery there if you want, so you don't have to have it the other way. That will take you back to your film strip and sort images. So everything else is along the side here. So the first one is presets. There is a whole heap of presets. Now, Aperty was made in conjunction with the Aussie photographer Julia Trotty, and she has some different color, creative, and retouch presets, and you can sort of play with those. You can make your own and you can pop them in here. Then you have got masking, so that's available for essential and creative tools. You've got your crop, so you can come through and you can decide which way you can flip your crop, do different aspect ratios, things like that. That's pretty self-explanatory. Now, if I come in here, this is the Essentials panel, and that gives you all the stuff that's in basically like the develop module. So you can set your white balance, you can set your everything's set. So you've got white balance, you've got temperature, tint, light, you've got exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, etc. So you can sort of play around with that sort of stuff. There is also a tone curve, so you can come in and you can set global or all channels, or you can come in and set the individual channels. Then you have color, so you can set your vibrance and saturation. If you've got a color cast to your image, so for instance, maybe you're shooting on a green screen, then you can remove the color cast. There's also the HSL, so you can change your hue, saturation, luminance of your different color channels. You can convert to black and white. You could sharpen, noise reduction, stuff like that. That is all in the Essentials panel. So I've just gone in and done a few little tweaks. Now, I do just want to clean up. There's a little mark on her jumper and even just this little tag. So let's just go into erase. Now, erase, you can either remove after each stroke or you can just do it once at a time. So I'm just going to erase that. Sometimes it just takes a second and it's all gone. So I'm just going to try and get rid of this tag. If you've used clone in Photoshop or Lightroom, use pretty much the same. And just click on save when you're done. Okay, so that cleaned up that little mark on her jumper. There's a few little marks on the floor as well, so I could come back in and clean those up. Okay, so if I just click save, that gets me back into my essentials. So you're just clicking and working your way through. So the next one down is Retouch, and this is where I have been playing with a lot of the portraits. I've been getting asked by various people how I managed to get through my portraits so quickly, and using Aperty is one way of doing it. So I can apply all of this to one image, or I can batch process, I can copy, I can save this as a preset and apply it to all the other images. So it is fabulous. But I can go through and I can do, it's just pick the face there, so that's there, female. Blemish removal, it's removed pretty much all of the blemishes. Now, if I turn it off, you'll see that, to be honest, there isn't a lot, but there is a few. Freckles, she doesn't really have any. Wrinkles, again, she doesn't have a lot, but I can remove them from around the eyes, smile lines, things like that. Skin smoothing, you can go as far as you like, but I recommend keeping it not too over the top. And of course, you want to keep in details. Face skin color correction, I think this is wonderful. You can come through, and if there's any sort of discoloration around the face, this smooths everything out. Dark circles, it's really good for removing dark circles. Face brighten, I quite like having that in there. The shine removal is fantastic. I love using that. Iris, now you can play around and change different coloured eyes if you want to. I just keep it as original, but I do like to pop in that iris flare. If there's any redness or anything like that in the eyes, you can remove those, and a little bit of eye whitening. Again, you can do teeth whitening and teeth brightening. If there's any blemishes on the lips or dry skin or anything like that, you can pop that in. And then there's also lip smoothing. From there, you can go into makeup. So if I'm not always going to be using this, but you can. So if you want to do blush, for instance, okay, it's quite over the top there, but you can change the colour of the blush. You can change the height of it. You can sort of play around with the X and the Y, so that's moving it left, right, top, bottom, etc. But you can bring it right down. So it's just a hint, and you can do cheeks, or you can do cheeks and nose. There's also contour, so you can put in a heap of contour and you can feather that off. But of course, I keep it really, really very subtle. You can add highlights to the cheeks. You can add eyeliner. But the one thing that does sort of bug me is you can change the hue color of the eyeliner, but you can't put like black. So that kind of bugs me a bit. So I don't really use the eyeliner. There's also like a glow there you can add. Eyebrow enhancement, you can play with that. Lip saturation, so you can increase the saturation. You can redden the lips a bit if you wish to. You can darken them. There is skin or body skin smoothing. That's all in there as well. So that's all under the retouch panel. From there, you've got the reshape panel. Now, this is one I really don't like to use. I want people to look like themselves. But if you want to go in here and play around, there's slimming for the face, the eyes. You can change your eyebrows, nose, mouth, body shape, etc. That's all in there if you wish to use it. And then there's a creative one. So you can show different light source. And this is kind of cool because you can go, if you go into customization, you can actually have like greenery or you can have vintage windows. So if I was to show on canvas where the light source is, let's say it's coming from here, and I've got it quite strong, but if you wanted it to be, you know, so there you've got your vintage windows sort of happening there. You could have it as shutters. So you can play around. You don't have to have a texture. You could just have a pattern. So say you wanted just strips, you could have that as well. And you can change the hue or the color, the saturation, the depth, play around with all of that. So that's in there too. From there, you've got Portrait Bokeh, which blurs your background. Be careful using this because it will blur around the head and make some sort of strange effects on your image as well. So just be a little careful using that. You've got lookup tables. There is some in here. You can get more. You can add custom lookup tables. And you can change the amount, the contrast, the saturation of those. You can add film grain if you wish to, and of course you can change the size, the roughness, etc. It's not great, I've got to admit. I have played around a little bit and I wasn't terribly happy with it. You can add a vignette, so black to one side, white to the other, and you could, there's advanced settings for roundness, feather, inner light, things like that. You can do high key, and you can add glow and things like that to your images as well. So there's a lot that you can do. Once you have got your image where you want it, you can then export, and you can export as a JPEG or a TIFF, select where you want to save it, etc. If you want to save this preset, click on the preset tab and click on New, and then you can name it. This is the second one I've done for Nicola Christmas, and it then pops up in your preset folders. You can also copy your edits. You can come over to an image that is similar and paste edits. Takes a second, but then it just comes in. Then I can go through and I can crop and make any little changes that I think I need to make. There's also, if you go into crop, you've also got your optics. So there's distortion, chromatic aberration, lens distortion, and if you need to transform it vertically, you can do that from here as well. Now, it did not remove these two marks, so I'm just going to come in with the erase tool and click those. So if I select a whole heap of those images and I go paste edits, you can see it's sort of happening along the film strip at the bottom. That it's being applied to all of those images. So I could have hit paste edits and walked off and grabbed myself a coffee. So it really can be time saving to batch edit, especially if it's something that's very, very similar. If I had a whole heap of different backgrounds or a whole heap of different things happening, but these are all same background, same outfit, same model, same everything, and I can just go edit one and then apply it to everything else in that folder, and then all I have to do is come through and perhaps recrop or just erase a thing or two, and they're all done. So it takes next to no time to edit my images. So that's it. That's how I managed to stay sane this season with my Christmas minis. I do them every year with a few of the models and of course all the pets, particularly the dogs and their owners. So I can quickly and easily batch process these super quick in Aperty, and they're all done. And it is really nice to be able to just jump in and do clean edits. Obviously, if you want to do composites, or you want to do layers, or you want to do any fancy stuff over the top, you're going to have to take it into something else, whether that's Luminar Neo to work in layers, or even Photoshop. You could do that. But if you just want simple, straight portrait retouching without all the fuss and bother, why not go and give Aperty a look? It really is such a time saver. So that's it for this week. If there's something that you would like to have a look at, let me know. Have you tried Aperty yourself? What do you think? I'd love to know in the comments. If you'd like to learn more about Aperty, I will put a link so you can go and have a look at that, or even maybe check out some of the other Luminar products as well. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up, maybe subscribe, hit that little bell for notifications so that you know next time that I put another video up. And I put up videos pretty much every week. And that's it. I will see you next time on YouTube. Bye.